We are back with another daily reflection on the Daily Vedantic, and today's episode is on the psychology of teaching. This philosophy is so complete. It is, in terms of continuous study, the oldest philosophy out there. Additionally, it's, I think, the simplest. Episode 1 of this project is the whole philosophy in 15 minutes. It's also the most complete. It has, in this, that's just James talking. You read something like Vedanta Treatise, which I always have near me. You read something like Vedanta Treatise, and it is remarkable just how it talks about everything. It quite literally covers everything. And episode 1 can give you a taste of what I mean. One of the subjects that it actually covers is how to teach. And it's actually not how to teach this wisdom. It's just how to teach, how to serve someone if you have an elevated sense of awareness or wisdom within a field, how to teach them. And this is directly from the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, where it is a really interesting dynamic of teacher and student. And in fact, nearly every Upanishad is a dialogue between a teacher and a student, which is such a great way to read a philosophy instead of just a text that's kind of a monologue. It's great to see a dialogue because you get to see and hear the questions that you yourself might be thinking. But that dialogue, it always takes this shape, from the known to the unknown. Taking that student. In the Gita, it might be Arjuna, and at the ashram, it might just be whatever student's asking a question about any topic. And Swami will take the student and the whole room from the known to the unknown. If you really want someone to know what they previously didn't know, you can't just jump to the unknown. Well, you can, but you're going to confuse them, or you're going to limit their ability to follow it logically, rationally. Some traditions do this quite often, where they just say, well, it's a mystery, or it can't be understood. Or they jump to, these are the characteristics of God. This is how you can define something as undefinable as God. In fact, a God defined is a God confined. And yet, many traditions will start defining God, jumping to the unknown and slapping on shiplap around them to give it form. Instead, this philosophy teaches the arc of teaching to take the student from the known to the unknown. And like I said, this is applicable to teaching anyone anything. Instead of jumping to the 501 classes and the student hasn't gone through the 101 classes, which is, by the way, a waste of both of your times. But a waste of both of your time. A waste of both of your times. I think that's it. Yeah. Waste of both of your times. No, I think it's waste of both of your time. Instead, you start the 101, then the 201, then the 301. And here's the reason that's important. This is a philosophy where understanding, truly understanding, is the goal. Not blindly believing, not parroting what you should say, avoiding what you shouldn't say, not stringing together the right 11 words in the right order like so many religions in our modern world require, and have virtually no appreciation for reason and rationale. This philosophy is built on reason and rationale. There isn't a single bit of it that you have to. In fact, that is one of the really amazing qualifications of this philosophy, more so than any I know of when it has to do with these subjects of ourselves or our state, our beliefs in God. The uniqueness is that You can deduce it completely from this present moment. There is no need to believe in anything in the future. There's no need to believe in any lineage of the past. If you listen to episode 1 of this podcast, all of that is a thought flow beginning to end of this present moment. There is no superstition of, and then this will happen, and this will happen, and then this will happen, and then I'll get to go here if I do these things correctly. Man, I can hear my mom, the grammar police, in my head. Thank God she was the grammar police growing up, because that's a valuable skill if you're going to be talking on a podcast a bunch. But this qualification of being able to deduce who we are and what's really happening through rationale and reason, that doesn't happen. That's kind of that 501 level stuff. It doesn't happen on day one, but you can get there with the beautiful arc of being taken from the known to the unknown. Psychology is the study of the soul. That's the etymology of the word. Study of personhood, soulhood of someone. To teach does require you to understand that student. An immense understanding of that soul before you. This kind of broadcasting is actually, it's quite rare in the world of Vedanta, where it is dispersed into the ether to any number of students at varying degrees of understanding of this philosophy. It is a rarity. It is usually and historically almost exclusively taught one-to-one, not even in large groups. Upanishad means sit close below. And it was an oral tradition way before it was ever written and read 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles from the place and time in which it was written. But every great teacher that might guide with these books, with a text written 1,000 miles away, 1,000 years prior, that teacher will take this approach of taking the student from the known to the unknown. It's a brilliant approach that the Bhagavad Gita takes. It's a brilliant approach that Vedanta Treatise is so brilliant in this way, because it really establishes what we already know before we go to a level that with a bit of reflection you can know, and then another level with a bit of reflection you can know. And then you get to the end of the book and like, man, this all sounds reasonable, rational. I might not fully understand it, but there's nothing woo about it. There's no leaps of faith. It's maybe the most rational of all belief systems, because it's built on pure rationale. I mean, the ad agency marketing the latest car to you isn't really operating from pure rationale. They're actually trying to hoodwink you into thinking, get this car and you're going to have, I don't know, some sense of permanent happiness. They're operating from an illusion. And this philosophy operates from reality. Or so it portends. I'll let you be the judge. But the structure in which it outlines this reality is so beautiful, so brilliant. And like I said, it's an arc that you could apply to any situation in which you're teaching someone anything. Taking us from the known to the unknown. Not mystifying, tossing us into the deep waters of the unknowns that you need the teacher always around. You need that master to explain it to you over and over and over again. That validates your confusion. But none of that. It's actually to make you self-sufficient, where you don't need the master, the teacher, any longer, because you've been taken from the known to the unknown, and the unknown becomes known. That's today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Daily Vedantic. This reflection is part of a free repeating 2-year course in Advaita Vedanta. Rooted in the timeless wisdom of the Upanishads, arguably the oldest philosophical texts on earth, you can begin with episode 1, which gives the 15-minute overview of the whole philosophy of Vedanta, or you can join the journey with any episode at any point. But the critical aspect of this course, of understanding and mastering anything, is to study and reflect, even for 10 to 15 minutes on the timeless each day, preferably at the start of your day. As is said in this philosophy, reflection is 100,000 times as powerful as listening. So listen, journal, sit with, discuss these concepts, or ask questions at thedailyvedantic.com with our AI-powered chatbot, informed by about 700 episodes here, as regularly as one can, if you want to see clarity and peace almost effortlessly unfold in your daily life. And if it doesn't result in a near immediate increase in clarity and peace, then toss aside and feel free to never listen again. One of the things that you might notice is after 7 or 8 days in a row, this doesn't feel like a discipline. This feels like a visit with a best friend, to dive into the timeless with daily reflection. Within a few days, it becomes one of your favorite parts of the day. You can also find out more, including news about in-person events in Los Angeles and beyond, at the Daily Vedantic on Instagram, or through our weekly newsletter at thedailyvedantic.com. Additionally, check out the links in our show notes for more resources like the books that are mentioned most frequently in the episodes, including Vedanta Treatise, perhaps the simplest and most straightforward read on this philosophy I've ever come across. Until next time, and from the entire team that works on the Daily Vedantic project, thanks for listening.